Well, good morning and welcome back, everybody, from Snohomish County, Washington, here for the Spartan Race Live Seattle Awards Show. And this was presented by Bose. I'm David Magida, and I'm joined once again by Amelia Boone.
Hello.
Your 2013 world champ. And we got to do a little recap of today's action. And, of course, we have an awards presentation right here.
We do have an awards presentation in beautiful, rainy Washington. We are here in Snohomish County.
Perfect Spartan weather.
Exactly. We like the mud for sure. And, man, there was a lot of it out there today.
A ton of mud. It had a major impact on the race in terms of the pace and the flow and the rhythm of that race, but also obstacles.
Yes.
Massive obstacle implications. We watched an explosion in both the men's and women's field as a result of some obstacles. Ryan Woods on the men's side, who should have probably run fast enough to take the victory today, did at least 60 burpees, including a fail of the tire flip and another fail at Olympus.
Yeah, correct.
And he only took fourth. So instead what you saw was a victory today by Ryan Kent.
Yes.
Huge win for Ryan Kent. And the implications on the series are massive because he's now moved into first place there.
Yeah. And he looked so smooth and so controlled throughout that entire race and just really, I mean, ran away with it ahead of Ryan Atkins, which is something we haven't seen in a long time. And
a much needed second place showing from Ryan Atkins, because what we saw from him is now he's got a good solid score. He just needs 3 more good races and he could still win this series for the second time. He took second last year and he won the year before in the first year of our U.S. Championship Series, which is now our U.S. National Series. So again, first place overall in our U.S. National Series is Ryan Kent. Second place today is Ryan Atkins taking second. And, of course, third place, big story, Vijay Jones, because Vijay at 18 or 19 years old, the young kid, came in, snuck by Ryan Woods, took down Robert Killian. It was a huge day. And you see there's the hardware that's going to be handed out to these athletes in just a few minutes. We have a powerful, like, it was an amazing women's race as well. And it's worth noting, like, all these lead changes that happened in the men's race, the women's race was as exciting.
Yeah, I would say, if not more, you know, because Ryan Kent definitely took the lead and stuck with it. But on the women's side, you had Fay, actually you had Rhea let's go back to the beginning. You had Rhea Coble, rewind, Rhea and Miriam Bassett, who were there leading in the beginning. And then we saw some lead changes. We saw some failures, and we saw Fay take it out there. But then we had the monkey bars, and we had some failures of the monkey bars. We had Lindsay and Alyssa both get back into it, who Fay actually never lost. We thought she lost the lead at the monkey bars when she was doing burpees, but she held the lead.
But she was running so strong, and all of a sudden, I think she just exploded. She blew up, and we saw her as she hit the bucket carry. She ran out of gas. She sputtered out. And Lindsay Webster went on. We were just saying, like, she didn't have it today. And we had literally just been saying it.
Very early on that you were calling that.
I was like within 2 miles from the finish. Yes. And I didn't think she had another gear. And it turns out she didn't need another gear.
No, because she runs so steady and so strong. And we saw her take that lead over from Fay, and then without any failures, you know. And then something happened at Twister. We were at Twister, and we had Lindsay there in front, but then we had both Alyssa and Fay neck and neck at Twister. And we have been talking about all day long about how Alyssa is so strong on obstacles.
She never fails on obstacles.
And we see her slip off a Twister. And so Fay easily takes second. And so the question is, you know, had Alyssa not slipped off Twister there, like, how much closer would that second and third place been, that finish?
And it would have been such an exciting finish. And here you have it, Alyssa Hawley. Taking the third place finish here. She has been on the podium on this course 3 years in a row, and she is there with her new Bose headphones, and I think, you know, she's pretty stoked about that. This, of course, being the Spartan Race post-race awards show brought to you by Bose. And so she's got a nice little headset to take home with her, as well as that hardware for third place. And also, don't forget, there's $15,000 in cash being awarded at this race as well. So here is Fay Stenning. I would say she's the woman who made the race, taking second place, and really running her guts out.
Yeah, you have to say, what is it, the Prefontaine quote? I don't run to see you as fast as I run to see you as the most guts.
That is Pre.
That is Pre, and that is Fay for you. You know, like, I feel like she embodied that today. Is that she really, really made Lindsay work for it. She really made Alyssa work for it. And she just ran with her guts out there.
And when Alyssa caught her right after the bucket carry, to have the resilience to power through that and maintain that second place was, I mean, it was really gutsy. And, of course, your women's winner today, coming all the way back from Nepal, having been in the mountains, climbing all the way to Everest Base Camp, there she is, Lindsay Webster, your two-time defending U.S. Championship Series champion, now the U.S. National Series where we are here.
And
of
the
course,
reigning Spartan world champion.
And your reigning world champ. That's right. And she has come in with a target on her back, with her back to the wall, knowing she has to have a great finish in all 4 of these races because she missed the first. And what's she do? Comes out and pulls out a W. This, of course, being undertrained. Like, she does not feel that she's put a quality training cycle in over a month. And there she is. Just another victory for Lindsay Webster. And it's like, how do you ever doubt this girl?
You don't. You don't. I mean, she is the dominant name in this sport. But you could say that of any of those 3 women up there on the podium. And beyond that, I mean, just the depth of the women's field now is absolutely incredible. And so these 3 are just going to duke it out all season long. And I mean, there are other names who are not up there on that podium right now that are going to join in that fray. You have Rhea, you have Nicole, who we still haven't seen race this year because of injury. And so, look, it's just stakes are just going to get higher and higher the closer that we get towards the end of the series.
Very proud of the 3 of these ladies. And also a great aggressive race run by Miriam Bassett, who set the pace early, who also was one of the major players in how this race played out, with a 4th place finish there and a 5th place finish for Rhea Coble, who, despite doing 60 burpees, and this is not an ideal course for her. I think she's very happy that this one's out of the way and she can get back into the mountains for Big Bear, which is our next race. And that's going to be May 5th, the 19th? 19th, yeah. And that was a shot of Joe D.I., and he is in charge of the Spartan Pro team. And here's one of his recruits right here. This is Vijay Jones, the young kid, coming up with a 3rd place finish today. And
huge race for him.
Oh, yeah.
Huge race. This is his first national series podium, I believe.
Yes, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Since starting racing last year. And I mean, his confidence just has to be through the roof here. He's
been training with Rich Diaz and working on getting even fast. He's been working on getting faster, his proficiency on obstacles. And of course, he was a strong showing. I think he was 7th or 8th in the series here last year. He was consistently up there, but never snagging podiums. Here's a man that is no stranger to the podium, though. 3-time world champion runner-up, 1-time U.S. Championship Series winner, 1-time U.S. Championship Series runner-up. Ryan Atkins taking 2nd, fresh off vacation, too. I mean, they
have a different idea of vacation than most of us. Let's be honest.
He's incredible. And
that's the only way to put it.
And just a very humble pro as well.
Exactly.
And then, of course, your men's champion of the day here in Seattle, in Snohomish, Washington. Really just an absolute dominant showing by a guy who's gone through some struggles, Ryan Kent. Now standing on top of the U.S. Men's National Series 2 races in.
Amazing. An amazing performance. Probably the best race that I've ever seen him run. And he said in his post-race interview with Steve Hammond, like, look, this muddy racing, this is what I grew up doing, and this reminds me of like South Carolina Beast. He's like, I grew up running in the mud and that was my kind of terrain. And look, it worked for him today. And just to really put a hurt on all these guys and put everyone on notice that, like, look, this is my year. This is my season. I mean, I'll tell you what, after the year for Ryan Kent and for Fay Stenning to both have kind of rough years for themselves last year, to turn around and have the performances they've had the last 2 races, very exciting and just a really big confidence builder for the 2 of them. And Ryan is building off of now 3 of his last 4 races have been stellar. With the exception being Tahoe World Championships, where anything can happen. Like, that's a race where, like, you kind of throw that out sometimes because, like, it's not consistent with the rest of your season. And I think he's going to come into this year's Tahoe much more prepared. But there you have it. Your women's and men's champion on the day, Lindsay Webster and Ryan Kent. 2nd place, Fay Stenning and Ryan Atkins, and 3rd place, Vijay Jones and Alyssa Hawley. That is quite a podium you got. Yeah, and all 6 of them got some new headphones by Bose to for their training.
Sick Bose headphones.
I know, right?
I got to get myself a set of those too.
They don't give us to them here in the booth.
They do not. We are not wearing Bose right now. So right now, what we're going to have a chance to do is in a few moments, we're going to sit down. We're going to have some conversations with your men's and women's champ, Ryan Kent, and Lindsay Webster. We're going to love to get Fay Stenning into the booth, and we may even have a chance to chat with Vijay Jones.
Yeah.
So a few of them, once they get off these podiums and off this high that they're riding right now, and Ryan Kent, I gotta say, like it's stunning what he's done with his training and his focus right now. I've never seen him as dialed in as he is right now. And for Fay Stenning at this point in the year to be running as well as she is, I think
I'm impressed with both of them. And for the reason too is that, for instance, Fay quit her job about a year ago, to go and be an athlete full time. And I think that last season was kind of a wake up call for her and was really tough because she was like, look, I quit my profession to do this and now I'm struggling, and really kind of questioning her place in it and working through that self-doubt and seeing her now come to where she is. And I think Ryan Kent is a very similar type of thing. And I think that for anyone who's trying to do this on a professional level, they're going to go in those waves, and then they're going to go and do I really belong here? And if I am not winning, what is happening? But they're both coming through and they found their confidence again. And that's a scary place to be, both of those of them with confidence.
Now there's a massive difference between when you're running this for prize money and for fun versus the day that you make that shift to this is my livelihood.
Yes.
The amount of pressure that's on you, the fun kind of starts to go away a little bit. You're not as focused on that part. You're kind of running scared at that point. And if you have a string of bad races, it just shakes your confidence in, did I make the right decision to make this move to becoming a professional? Mm-hmm. And to see the two of them both have the success that they've had this year, that they've made the right decision. Yeah. It's really a nice thing to see from the two of them. Because, with Lindsay and Ryan, they've known they made the right choice for a while. They're coming off so many successful years in a row. And now you look at a kid like Vijay Jones and his emergence. We have a young contingent of athletes coming up that are going to be very exciting to watch for years to come.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see more and more, of the younger crowd come out, because really it's just going to ensure the longevity of the sport. And I think that that's really what we need instead of old timers like you and I.
Oh, wow. Hey, you know what? We could still get into the mud and mix it up with the best of them, I like to think. And we saw quite a show from a number of other athletes that didn't make it up onto the podium. On the men's side, Ryan Kempson ran a really courageous first half of his race, and it cost him a little bit, but he and Ryan Woods were right up there in the mix the entire first half. Mark Batris also running aggressively early on and just not getting the showing that he wanted. Robert Killian didn't seem to have the legs today. Yeah, that was surprising.
It was surprising. I haven't heard from him exactly. I'm sure that at some point he'll talk about, his race, but sometimes it's just not your day. Yeah. And we all have those races. And so, I know that he'll come back chomping at the bit in Big Bear, and that should be a really good course for him.
Yeah. And of course, on the women's side, we have Rhea Coble, who just, this wasn't her day, but I don't think it's going to shake her confidence remotely.
Oh. Definitely not. And she's looking forward to dropping this one and moving on to the next one. It looks like
we have a guest.
We have a guest. It's a beautiful, beautiful guest who is going to join us.
Coming to join us here in the booth, fresh off her second place finish. Currently sitting in first place in the U.S. National Series. Is that right? Well, we were doing some quick math.
We got a headset for you there.
The only person that could have been in front of you after today would have been Rhea, but she didn't quite do what it took. So you are currently sitting on a few points lead over Rhea. We'll adjust you real quick right there.
Can you feel your hands yet?
Yes, I can. They were cold. It was cold.
Yeah. So we have so many questions.
Okay. Yes.
Obviously, first and foremost, how does it feel to be sitting in first place in the series?
I'm super happy. I don't know. I just feel happy to be here. I really invested a lot in training this off season. Last year it was just hard training in Canada with the conditions and the snow and the ice, and made a move to San Diego. And shout out to all my training partners in San Diego. You guys have been awesome and really pushing me. So it was a good move, and I'm happy that my hard work is paying off.
So when we look at how this race broke down today, because you were one of the tone setters in this race, you really were hammering out a nice tempo early on, and there was a battle between the three of you and Miriam and Rhea early on, and then Lindsay just kind of sat back and crept in on it. So how did this thing play out from there, from maybe the rolling mud area on?
Yeah, it was like Rhea, went out strong, and I'm learning as I'm getting older and I guess becoming more of a mature athlete that sometimes you have to accept that maybe it's not the best to hang on to people. Sometimes you got to let people go and run your own race. I put myself into some pretty dark places in races. And I'm realizing that not having the foot on the gas pedal, it's hard all the time, is sometimes serving me better later on in the race. So I just kind of sat back with Miriam. Miriam's like a great runner and a great pacer. So I was just kind of working with her. And I kept thinking, if me and her can kind of work together, like we're going to work together to close the gap on Rhea. Rhea was kind of a no man's land. So it's fun to kind of work with her for a bit. But yeah, the whole time I'm thinking in the back of my head, you got Alyssa and Lindsay, which are two strong closers and you can't count them out. So I had to make sure that I was there are times you're kind of running kind of by yourself, like you have a bit of a gap, and I just had this gap is not an actual gap when you have those girls, such strong closers coming behind you. So
we saw you was it part of your strategy in there were some flat straightaways and you looked like you were hauling? I mean, and so at that point were you like, okay, I can run? I mean, you were probably one of the fastest women out there.
Yeah, my strategy, I know, I put a 17:20 5K down not too long ago in the middle of a training block. I know I've got the speed, and more so than not just having the speed, but I don't have that technical running. So I don't really have a choice. I know the girls are going to close me on the technical. So if I want to do well in these races, I have to hammer the flats. I'm running as fast as I can on the flats because I don't have a choice. And you get to a certain fitness level that you're actually using the obstacles to recover. So you see a big flat section and it's you're sprinting that as hard as you can because you see a wall that you get a bit of recovery, or a barbed wire. So you take risks and you put yourself into a faster pace than you're maybe comfortable in, because you know that the obstacles when you're at this fitness level are recovery. So your heart rate will naturally lower down on the obstacles.
So tell us about, we saw you hit that last wooded trail section with a little bit of hills right before the bucket carry. And it looked like you were starting to run out of gas a little bit, and you hit the bucket, and that was where Lindsay passed you. So
the bucket looked like a dark place.
It seemed like you were standing next to the buckets, and you were trying to muster the strength to pick up the bucket. What happened?
So I don't know what happened on the bucket. I think first of all, and I haven't really been practicing the carries, to be honest. I don't know why. They just haven't really been an issue for me. And I've just been wanting to focus more on running. And because I've been having little injuries, that doing loaded work kind of scares me. So yeah, I've been shying away from them in training, and maybe it showed today. But sometimes when you're running so fast, the carries become a lot harder because you're going into the carries in a bit of oxygen deficit, or you're going into the carries really aerobically taxed, and it changes the game of the carries. But yeah, I was really weak on that carry, mentally and physically weak, and I was making all these animal sounds. I was like, ugh! Such a baby, and I was talking to myself. I was like, oh my God, Faye, come on, you're better than this. You deadlift, you lift heavy things, get it together. But I couldn't. And not only did Lindsay gap me, but Alyssa finished the bucket pretty much at the same time.
She closed on you hard, yeah.
And I was really excited with my mentality about Alyssa closing on me on the bucket, because I wasn't oh, this sucks. I was I'm not worried. I ran track. If this comes down to an all-out sprint, see ya, Alyssa.
So we felt the same way. We were really impressed by how you responded the instant she came up next to you. You surged. Yeah. You had another gear.
Yeah. So that was that's just my strategy. I think you really got to know your strengths and your weaknesses in the sport, and make sure that you use them appropriately. So
do you feel like you had Lindsay on the ropes?
Oh, on the rig?
Earlier in the race, do you feel like you had her kind of back to the wall? It seemed like you had control.
I felt like I had control, but I was I remember I was in the trails. I was kind of by myself, and I was reflecting. I was oh my God, I'm gonna think back to my my career as a Spartan athlete. And I'm gonna say there's one thing I never did, and that was never beat Lindsay Webster. And I was no, Faye, today is the day. Today is that day. You got to make sure that doesn't happen when you retire. Like, this is the day. This is the opportunity. Let's do it. But it was so funny. I was like, I sometimes think she's like just so unbeatable. And then like today just kind of like went into that theory as like, maybe she is for me. Yeah. But it was awesome. You know, it's fun. It's fun having like one or two Canadians.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are so stoked for you and how you performed today. And we definitely, I think that when we were talking about racing with guts, that was you today. So
yeah, thanks.
Excited to see you in Big Bear for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Really pumped to catch you in Big Bear. And of course, I think it's going to be a good race for you again. Your season's been amazing. Yeah. You're sitting in first place in the series right now. Mm-hmm. 2 really strong showings in a row. Let's keep that going.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
So while Faye is hopping out of the booth, it looks like we're going to get joined by your men's champion today, Ryan Kent. Ryan, quit playing with your headphones, man. We got stuff to do. Let's go. Put it down.
Yeah.
It's got to put them on.
Okay, yeah, this is how all the cool kids wear them, I think.
And apparently, you got to bring your trophy into the booth with you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here. Who knows how to hold one of these things?
Oh, take it from the master. All right, you got to put on.
It's true. Too. It's not silver either. This, by the way, big show for you today.
Yeah.
So first of all, not that we were discounting you because we saw how strong you were in San Jose, but we were like, could he do this 2 weeks in a row? Can Ryan like really just start to string these together? And the showing that you put on today, like we can't doubt anything anymore. There can be no doubt. You're leading the series.
I hate to tell you, you're no longer a dark horse.
Yeah, no more dark horse.
Hey, yeah.
How do you feel?
I mean, I feel great right now. I knew coming in. I mean, you can't really gain much fitness in 3 weeks since San Jose, but I knew. I mean, I've been having really good workouts. A lot less volume in terms of running, a lot more high intensity strength work, and I don't know. I just wanted to put myself in position to do something special today, and I was able to do that.
Yeah. So where in this race did you feel that you kind of broke away, that it was your race to have? Because you were in a really nice duel in the beginning with Ryan Atkins, Ryan Kent, and even Kempson sitting there, the 4 Ryans
all
together. Yeah. It was crazy. And the leads were like really shifting back and forth very quickly. You go over an obstacle and it would come out in a totally different order, and it was like a war. Yeah. And there was a moment where Woods really surged and seemed like, oh, his speed is on another level today. And I'm sure it was concerning, but then, he failed an obstacle, the tire. And where did you say, I got, this is mine. I have it.
I mean, I sort of felt like I was going to have a good day. As athletes, we know early on, like if it's going to be a good day or if it's going to be a bad day. And I could tell, first mile that I was feeling good. And when we got out of the sandbag and it was just, me, Ryan, and other Ryan, we actually kind of joked to ourselves. We're like, hey, like maybe this is the day where all 3 Ryans get on the podium. And we've been talking about it for a while, actually. So Woodsy, you messed up, man. But I knew coming out of the tire flip that, you know what, this is my race. And I could tell already through the first 2 miles of the race that I was actually running a little bit better than Atkins was.
You looked so smooth out there. Very, very smooth.
On the climbs, I was moving quicker than
you were.
Yeah.
You were. And there was also on the bucket carry, the last bucket carry, you were also moving quicker than he was. You moved as quick as him on that sandbag carry.
Yeah.
And because he
moved on the down.
He charged past you, and then you closed back up on him on the climb.
I just was trying to run my own race. And I was like, I know Ryan Atkins. He's going to try to bomb down this and try to break me a little bit. But I just stayed in my zone and reeled him back in a little bit. But, I mean, to answer your question, I knew after the tire flip it was going to come down to Atkins or myself. And I knew that I was running better than him so far. And but then, I mean, Woodsy was coming on strong again. Yeah. I mean, it was like
the fact that
it's not like I'm running slow either. It's like I'm dropping like 530 miles and like
he's running like nobody's moving.
Seriously,
it's the split shorts.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
So, how does this feel in terms of you're sitting there in first place now, and I mean, in terms of confidence, in terms of where you're looking forward going on, like what do you need to refine? You think like moving forwards as the rest of the series unfolds, or is there something? Do you have a weakness at this moment, or is there something that you're really focusing on going forward?
Well, I mean, I've never, despite some bad races over the years, I've never lost confidence in myself. Like I've always known that I'm like capable of putting together these type of performances. And although it hasn't always come to fruition, I knew that I was capable of it. And right now I don't want to tweak really anything that I'm doing right now. I kind of want to stick to what I've been doing. I've been, working with Yancey Culp a good bit. And, I'm just going to, I don't know a beast distance. The next race is Big Bear. That'll be a little interesting being,
big test,
mid-season beast where like a lot of us aren't really, we haven't really been training for, a 2.5 hour race.
Oh.
I mean, I haven't done a run longer than like an hour so far this season. So, but at the same time, I've been doing a lot of volume in other areas.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't think I'm going to tweak too much because what I'm doing right now is working. So.
No, man, I got to say, really proud of the effort that you've put out this year. And we were saying you faced a lot of adversity last year.
Yeah.
A lot of up and down. And the second half of your year, things really finally rounded into the form that we wanted to see from you. And then that's really carried into this year so nicely. I mean, you started the year stronger than anybody this year. And you're probably running as fast and as confidently as we've ever seen you run at any point in your career. Yeah. So
thanks. I appreciate that.
You must be real stoked.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, it's been a long time coming. I feel like, West Virginia last year, the end of the season was kind of my highlight of last year.
Totally.
Obviously, didn't have a good race in Tahoe, but you know what? It takes failure to kind of learn and grow and find success. And I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want things to come easy, and I'm happy to work for it. I almost prefer it that way. So
awesome.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, we're excited.
First
to see
place
where you go.
today.
Yes.
First place right now in the men's U.S. National Series, and
really?
you're in first place right now, man.
Right.
you gotta hold serve for 3 more races, man.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. Where did Woodsy and
Woods finish? Woods finished fourth,
and Killian came in
seventh,
seventh,
I think.
Yeah.
All right.
So you've got a solid couple point lead over Woods, and then a few more over Killian, and anything can happen now.
Yeah.
So Ryan Woods, congratulations on first play in the U.S. National Series. And
Ryan
Kent. Oh, congratulations on the U.S. National Series first place right now through 2 races, and we're going to catch you in Big Bear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Congrats. Next up, we got a visit from the youngster, Vijay
our
Jones.
young buck.
Coming in here, 3rd place finish in the National Series, race number 2. And Vijay, get over here, man.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hey, thanks for joining us.
What's up? Grab yourself a headset.
Yeah, you got 2 headsets now.
Yeah. So everybody's rocking these really sweet Bose headphones, and they are the sponsor of this awards show. So you can go ahead and grab yourself a pair. So first of all, first time you've podiumed in a National Series event.
Yeah, I finally broke through that glass ceiling I've had with top 5 at a championship race. The smaller races I've been able to podium and win often enough.
And you've been consistently strong in the National Series events. I mean, you finished well up there with 7th or 8th in the series last year.
Yeah, last year my first race was 7th, then I came back for a 6th. And then when we got on the East Coast, I wasn't a really strong climber last year. Same with this year, and I started falling back, especially in Palmerton. But starting to put things together, and I guess it really did come together today, especially with the 3rd.
So take us through your race today. So I mean, there's the pack of Ryans running in front in the beginning. When did you start to sneak into that group? When did you pass Ryan Woods and everything like that?
Well, at the start, when everybody took off, it was so fast. It was really intimidating because everyone was attacking off the bat. And after getting, 10th at the last race, I was kind of skeptical of if I was going to be able to hang. But I just threw it out there. I said, if I'm hurting, everybody else is hurting too. So, I just kept going. And I ended up, I think, in 7th at one point. But then coming into the obstacles at mile 3 or so, where Herc hoist and the tire flip came together, all of a sudden I found myself in 4th.
Yeah.
And Woods was doing burpees next to the tire, and I saw that, and I said, well, I got a shot at getting up there now, so I just kept pushing. And but then the thing was, Woods just came running by me after he completed his burpees.
Isn't it crazy?
This seems to be the theme of the day. Everybody's there with Ryan once again.
Yeah, I mean, he ran by me like I was standing still, and same as what Kent was saying, I was pushing. I was working really hard, and he just came running by. So
okay, you just kept kind of sliding your way up, a place here, a place there, a place there. And you were clean today, right? You ran clean,
absolutely clean. Thing I struggled most with was the monkey bars because they're so slick.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal, but yeah, I mean, I stayed consistent. But what was amazing is, I looked over my shoulder at one point, and Robert Killian was behind me, which is something I hadn't experienced before, and that was a little confidence boost in itself, knowing that I could run at his pace. I don't know if he had a bad day or something, but it was. Psychologically, it was good for me, so I kept moving.
Good day or bad day, I mean, anytime you get somebody, you got them. And that's the really cool thing about it, is it's another notch in your belt.
Yeah.
And so moving forward now, you're sitting in a decent spot for the series. Hopefully you can move on this performance, and, hopefully San Jose is your kind of your low score for the year.
I hope so.
And so goal-wise, as we move into a mountainous beast race, what are your thoughts? Actually,
I think I might be sitting on the sidelines for that one.
Really?
I'm really not ready for that beast distance yet. I've been figuring it out. I just recently had my longest run ever, which was 20 miles. That's like small for like people like you, but that was huge for me. I finally ran for that amount of time.
No, it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and last year it was Spartan World Championships was the longest run I had ever done. I came in with a long run that was like 3 miles shorter than actual race distance. So, I'm building up, and obviously I've caught up to the super distance now. So I'm going to start working and make sure I'm ready for the beast at the end of the year. But I think I'm going to take this one off so I can have a solid block of training. Exactly.
Beautiful. Exactly. Cool. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you then out at the next one after that. And
Chicago.
It's her old stomping grounds, Chicago. And Vijay, just a huge congrats to you on 3rd place today, and your first National Series podium. And now you set the bar for teenagers everywhere.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean,
wait, we have 19 now or 18?
19.
Okay,
yeah,
I was right.
I knew it.
I was right.
Wait, we both thought that.
I thought you said 18.
No, I said 18 or 19. So I think this is also a fact. You're the first teenager to podium in a U.S. championship or National Series event.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Another first.
Yeah. That's not bad.
So huge congrats to Vijay, and we will see you at the next one in Chicago. Yeah. Not in Big Bear, but in Chicago.
Yeah, you might see me. I'll maybe be cheering on the sidelines, but
you could come rabbit. You can be one of our cameramen.
Yeah. That's in skill, running with those cameras.
That's good.
So it was great to have Vijay getting his first podium in a U.S. National Series, and of course, we'll be catching up with him soon. So for all of us here at Spartan Race for the post-race awards show presented by Bose, I'm David Magida. This is Amelia Boone, and we have had one heck of a day. We'll see you guys in Big Bear May 19th. It's going to be a beast, and it's going to be mountainous, and it's going to be amazing. We'll see you guys then. Be sure to tune in.
Bye.